Renault's Kangoo van offers two body-shaped sizes in a bid to cover all the bases in the compact van market. Both are well built, pretty practical and pleasantly styled with an economy-focused engine range. If you're buying in this sector, this is one of the models you need to consider. Now today, it's no longer enough for a van maker like Renault to offer one compact LCV in its model range. It needs two. Both must offer the company end user more carrying capacity than the Super Mini derived vans that until the turn of the century were pretty much all this sector offered. Today, a small van must be purpose built. The most compact versions prioritising urban manoeuvrability, while larger models are focus size family hatchback size, yet offer carrying capacity that's edging up towards the kind of space you'd get in a Transit or Renault Traffic size van from the next class up. Now the result of all this is the double header second generation Kangoo range that we're looking at here, with a shortened version called the Kangoo Compact to take on diminutive rivals like Citroen's Nemo and Peugeot's Bipper, and this full fat Kangoo van dealing with alternatives like Citroen's Berlingo or Peugeot's Partner. Now it really boils down to a couple of wheelbase options, but there are other differences, and the result is that Renault has two very different products with which to meet the needs of UK van customers. Now this Kangoo has taken a big step forward in its driving dynamics thanks to Renault's decision to base this generation version on the underpinnings of their old Mark II Scenic MPV. Older Kangoos ran on an ancient Clio Mark II platform dating back to the early 90s. Now as a result, although it's hardly class leading in terms of ride and handling, and it's still a bit nervous over the porous surfaces, over most roads you'll find this Kangoo to be much more forgiving and compliant, although over-enthusiastic delivery drivers may not find it quite as taut around corners as its predecessor. The longer wheelbase of this Kangoo van model gives it a far more composed ride and handling package than you'll find in the shorter Kangoo Compact, which bounces around far more. Compensation for compact customers comes in the form of a wonderfully tight turning circle of just 9.6 metres, which makes it great for congested urban settings. That's even tighter than Renault's Twingo city car. Whichever Kangoo you buy, you'll find that forward visibility is great with this extensive windscreen and the truncated bonnet. There's also a very positive feel to the gear change and well-weighted steering. All Kangoo compact models slot in below the 2,000 kilogram gross vehicle weight limit, and that means that they're subject to normal car speed limits rather than the lower commercial vehicle limits that come into force above that level. Now that doesn't apply to all variants in the Kangoo van range, so check the spec list carefully before you buy. At the wheel of this Renault you sit very upright, but quite comfortably thanks to height adjustment on the driver's seat and on the steering wheel here. And you've got remote controls for the stereo on a stalk just off the wheel as well. Now the wide track means that around country roads there's actually quite a lot of grip, whilst around town the light power steering makes parking very easy, although until you get used to the car, getting into really tight spaces can take a bit of judgment because the bonnet slopes away from you and it's quite hard to see the extremities of the car. Performance is leisurely, even the fastest models taking around 13 seconds to get from rest to 60 on the way to a top speed of around 106 miles an hour. Now compensation for drivers of the diesel version comes in the form of a prodigious torque pulling power. There's around 240 Newton meters of it if you go for the top 106 brake horsepower version. That's compared to 148 Newton meters in the equivalent petrol model. Now what that means, if you're at the wheel of a diesel like I am here, is that you've got a much more relaxed feel with fewer gear changes. And it's particularly evident if you're towing something. Most Kangoos can handle a brake trailer of up to 1,050 kilograms in towing weight. From the outside, this Kangoo looks relatively similar to the first generation model, but slip inside and it's clear that this is a much more modern proposition. The cab of the 3.8 metre long compact and the 4.2 metre long Kangoo van, well, they're both identical, so that buyers of the shorter version used to small-scale rivals like Citroen's Nemo should find it to be massive. Even in this Kangoo van, because the windscreen is placed so much further ahead of the driver than perhaps is normal, the impression that you get is that you're at the wheel of a much larger vehicle than you actually are. Now, the basic dashboard design is lifted whole scale from the Mark II Scenic MPV with its two-tone finish, its aviation style handbrake designed to reduce the strain on the driver's wrist, and the dash mounted gear stick. Certainly by the standards of the compact van sector, fit and finish is impressive. And this upright driving position facilitates easy entry and exits. There's a huge amount of headroom, enabling all kinds of headgear to be worn should the occasion arise. And in terms of cabin space, well, there's no optional middle seat of the kind that some rivals offer, but space for driver and passenger is more than adequate. Only legroom for the passenger, thanks to this sloping floor here, giving any small cause for concern. List prices suggest that you'll be paying somewhere between £9,000 and £11,000 for your Kangoo compact. But most businesses will want to choose this larger Kangoo van model, and you're looking at somewhere between £10,000 and £13,000 for one of those. Now, comparisons, well, a Kangoo compact, if you choose a petrol version, will cost you about the same as equivalent but lesser powered rivals like Citroen's Nemo or Peugeot's Bipper. But if you go for a diesel model, you'll be looking at a premium of about £500 over those two rivals. As for the Kangoo van, well, you're looking at a saving here of between £500 and £1,000 on equivalent Citroen Berlingo or Peugeot partner models, depending on whether you go for a diesel or a petrol model. If you want to know what else is out there as an alternative, then other rivals for the Kangoo compact include models like Fiat's Fiorino and Vauxhall's Combo, whilst short and long wheelbase versions of Ford's Transit Connect and Volkswagen's Caddy provide opposition for both the Renault derivatives. If your focus is on people rather than cargo capacity, the Kangoo also comes in passenger car form. And engines, well, Kangoo compact buyers get a choice of either a 90 brake horsepower 1.6 litre petrol unit or a 1.5 litre DCI diesel with either 70 or 90 brake horsepower, the latter being the pick of the range. If you go for this Kangoo van, you've got a slightly wider engine range choice with the range increased to include 105 brake horsepower versions of both petrol and diesel units. You also at this level got a wider choice of payloads that start at either the 662 kilogram level or at 812 kilograms. Standard equipment on all Kangoos includes remote central locking that enables you to lock or unlock the rear doors separately, plus all doors lock automatically as you drive off. Safety-wise, you get an advanced ABS braking system with brake assist, plus seatbelt pretensioners. ASR traction control and ESP stability control are available as options on this larger model. Now to the figures, so get your notebooks out. The size of the Kangoo compact's load bay might lead you to suspect otherwise, but you can in fact fit a standard Euro pallet in the back of both of these Kangoo models, thanks to a loading width of 1.21 metres between these two wheel arches. Now, a user-friendly load height of 577 millimetres off the ground means that you don't have to stress too hard to get the thing in either. Plus, you'll be able to cram in a few of them thanks to a total of 1,130 millimetres of cargo bay loading height. Unlike its rivals, you don't get a sliding side door option on the Kangoo compact, but you do get one on this Kangoo van. And it opens with a tug on the reassuringly chunky handle here to reveal a 635mm wide door aperture. Most of the time in your Kangoo though, you're going to be chucking things in the back through the asymmetrically split unglazed back doors, which normally open to 90 degrees, but releasing a catch inside means that you can open them right out to 180 degrees, by which time you've opened up an aperture here that's 1200mm wide and 1143mm high. The inside is lit up by a decently sized light, which facilitates the whole process at night. So what does all that mean in terms of what you could get from rival brands? Well, let's keep things simple and just consider load volume and payload. You're looking at 500 to 519 kilograms of payload if you go for the Kangoo Compact, and 2.3 cubic meters of load volume. Now that's slightly less than you get in Citroën Nemo or Peugeot Bipper alternatives, but the difference is fairly slight, and if you get the right price it shouldn't matter too much. What about this Kangoo van? Well, here you're looking at between 812 and 820 kilograms of payload and 3 cubic meters of load volume. The payload is well above what you could expect on mainstream Peugeot Partner or Citroën Berlingo multispace models, but the load volume is slightly below what they offer. So it really all comes down to what your business actually needs. Now, if you're really bothered about carriage capacity, like rival models, this Renault offers the option of a fold flat version of this front passenger seat, which can obviously lengthen the load area and increase your carrying capacity to 3.6 cubic meters. Right, got that. Okay, what else might you need to know? Well, there are 4 floor-mounted tie-down points and 4 more at waist height. Plus, if you forget to use them and find your cargo moving about on the move, it's good to know there's a full steel bulkhead as standard fit, although a mesh grille that opens out to increase your loading capacity is an extra cost option. It's also worth ticking the box for the optional plastic cladding that guards your interior from scratches and dents up to half height. And talking of options, here's a common problem for window cleaners or plumbers. Really long items. Well, this Kangoo offers a roof-mounted flap that you can poke long items out of quite safely. Now, as far as storage and usability for the driver is concerned, there are large door pockets, a 15-litre lidded glove box. You've also got an A4 clipboard-sized holder in the dashboard, together with a pen holder next to it. Got drinks compartments between the front seats here, plus a tray for loose change. And you've got a 13-litre overhead storage compartment above the driver's head here. Now, all of this, together with the multimedia and Bluetooth connectivity options that Renault offers with this vehicle, mean that your Kangoo could double as a travelling office. But will it be an expensive one? Well, Renault says that they've worked hard on this area, although the 12,500 mile service intervals aren't especially long. Accident downtime should be better. The front wings, for example, are made of a composite material, so they're very easy to repair. And that's one reason why insurance is an affordable Group 2 on most models. You get a 3-year, 100,000 mile warranty with no mileage limit for the first couple of years and roadside assistance for the entire duration. What else? Well, you get a 3-year paintwork guarantee and a 12-year anti-corrosion warranty. And you'll be wanting to know about CO2 figures. They range between 129 to 140 grams per kilometre of CO2 for a diesel Kangoo Compact, or if you go for a diesel Kangoo van, it's anything between 137 and 142 grams per kilometre of CO2, with the more powerful diesels being more efficient. Go for a petrol Kangoo and you're looking at something in the 190 to 195 bracket grams per kilometre of CO2. That only leaves fuel consumption. You're looking at just under 55 miles to the gallon on the combined cycle for the diesel versions, although that will drop to around 35 miles to the gallon if you go for a petrol model. Overall, the Kangoo produces a pretty positive scorecard by our reckoning, with most of the core attributes that small van buyers want. Renault's decision to produce this vehicle in 2 sizes was a sensible one, even if for most businesses the bigger version is going to be the default choice for all but town centre focused work. True, the space available inside isn't the biggest in the sector, but it's close enough to the top class standard for business operators to be seduced by the excellent fuel economy, the impressive ride comfort and the solidly constructed interior. It'll probably come down to the price you get and the proximity of your local franchise, in which case Renault dealers will likely feel quite confident in driving forward your business at the same time as driving forward theirs.